Hello and welcome to this video about my delightful Vauxhall Insignia. I think it deserves a video because these cars are really underrated. Firstly, I think it's quite a good looking car. Hopefully you can see that on the video now. I've done a lot of work to this car to get it to this position. It's actually my first auction purchase, unbelievably. I've done a fair few miles on it and I'm a big fan of it. Shouldn't really be getting rid of it. So I just want to sort of sing the virtues of the Insignia. Not the best light, is it? And just point out some of the things I've done to it. So there was a video on my YouTube channel of this car when I first got it. And I went around and pointed out all the faults on it. Firstly, one of the bulbs was out. Start. The badge is missing, like all of them, and it's got a bulb out. Heady start. Which turned out to be the ballast at the bottom. That's been fixed. The badge was missing, which they all do on Vauxhall Insignias, and I put an Opel badge on it purely because they don't fall off. So on the Opel, you can see this is all one bit. Well, it's plastic in reality. Whereas on the Vauxhall equivalent, the badge and the slat are two separate components. So they fall off. Basically, it was designed to be an Opel, not a Vauxhall. The Vauxhall was probably a bit of an afterthought. So that's why I put that on there. Fixed the headlight. 4 new tyres were required. It's had new front brake discs. It's had a cam belt. It's fully up to date with the servicing. It's just had an oil service. Look on the inside. It's a very nice place to be. Full leather. Electric driver's seat with memory for 2 drivers. I think that remembers the mirrors as well, but only I've driven it, so I can't confirm that. Wood trim, which I love. Air conditioning, which is blowing ice cold. It was in the summer. Hard to tell on a cold day like today. But yeah, working air conditioning, DAB digital radio, CD player somewhere, I've never used it, aux in, which I have used, electric parking brake working perfectly, armrest storage, very comfortable driving position. I'll talk about it in the driving. You can adjust it any way you like. Lovely attention to detail. There's lovely soft leather on the doors. This is real metal. Xenon headlights, auto dimming central mirror and side mirror, which is quite good. Massive space in here. Isofix in the rear, of course, for child seats. See got space in there. A black hole, but yeah. They don't even scrimp on the back passenger stuff here. It's not a Volkswagen. 4 electric windows, obviously. This is elite spec, so it's got pretty much everything they can throw it on it. Power tailgate. Just take my box out of there. Huge boot. I like these little lights in the underneath the tailgate. Yeah, you can see, absolutely massive. Put that back. Give a bit of sense of scale. And then have to hold it for more than a second, which is always a trap. Yeah, fully kitted out of this car. Trip computer, that 44.9 is me over quite quick motorway driving. I think mid 50s would be easily achievable if I calm down. Lovely light power steering, cruise control, speed limiter, air conditioning, dual zone climate control I should say, so you can set separate temperatures for the driver and the passenger, all automatic. Parking sensors front and rear, which I had to fix when I got it, that's on the list as well. A bit of mood lighting here at night. Those headlights are fantastic. I'm hoping to do a video of them. Rear seat ventilation. You can see the space pedals, it's just incredible. This car is very long and it's very spacious and practical. Power folding mirrors, always love them. You can do them on the fob as well. You can also globally close and open the windows from the fob, so they all come down on a hot day when you approach the car and let it cool off. Never been smoked in. That's just the cam belt record. Cup holders, electric parking brake, 6-speed gearbox, lovely change on it. Very low revs on the motorway. Steering controls to the radio here. On this particular car, I've gone through and fixed everything except for a few things. 3 things. So I'll be full disclosure. Driver's seat heating doesn't work. It's a common fault on these. It was once coverable under warranty, but now the cars have got a bit older. Vauxhall pretending that they don't know anything about it and refusing to cover it. I haven't fixed that because it hasn't bothered me. Other thing that hasn't bothered me is while I fixed the right hand side headlight, for some reason it won't believe me and it tells me that it's out often, but it is fixed. The light does work, it just tells you it doesn't. Don't know why. And the final thing is that it's got tyre pressure monitoring. I didn't mention that, but on the right rear the sensor's gone, so after you've driven about 20 miles or so, I'm surprised it hasn't come on yet actually, it will come up saying tyre pressure monitoring fault, and it will read all the other 3 pressures, but it won't read that back right. Annoyingly, I didn't know this before I changed all the 4 tyres, so it would have been quite cheap to change the sensor at that same time, but now I'm sort of thinking it's easier to wait till you change the tyres again, because then you don't have to take the tyre off just to change the pressure sensor. You can do it at the same time. Just to do it right now, I think I was quoted 60 quid, but it would be cheaper if you were getting if it was thrown in with a tyre. So that's what I'd recommend with that. Again, I've never had a car with tyre pressure monitoring in it, so it didn't really bother me that one tyre didn't work. I was still better than I ever have been, and I can see the right rear isn't deflated, so that's always good. All it remains to do is take it for a drive and just try and convey how good this car is, because I don't believe that people give these cars the credit they deserve. Okay, what's the Vauxhall Insignia like to drive? One way to find out. So, fire's on the button, which is great because this car's been standing a little while recently. At low speeds, steering is meaty, but it's light, much lighter than my daily driver at the moment. Very comfortable place to sit. So adjustable, this driver's seat. You can put it anywhere you like it. Really is so easy to get comfortable in here. Hill hold assist there. Holds you on the hill, unbelievably. When you take your foot off the brake, give you time to find your biting point on the clutch. Yeah, the armrest, the way everything's laid out in here, it's just, I think this is the most comfortable car I've ever spent a significant amount of time in driving. I think it might be the most comfortable car I've driven to sit in, full stop. Now, I'm not saying the ride's fantastic. It's quite sporty, but it's not BMW M Sport or anything like that firm. It's comfy. It is a comfy car. But specifically what I'm saying is the seat and the armrests, the position of the seat. Yeah, I have a little bit of backache. This car is the best. Perfect lumbar support, which is all electrically adjustable. And then there's quite a few cars that have air front, so we won't be able to demonstrate the performance too much, but second's probably too low. Third, foot down. 60. The way this 2-litre engine delivers torque, it's quite addictive. It makes me drive it a bit silly. You get quite addicted to just pushing it into a gear and putting your foot to the floor and watching that torque kick you in the back, because it does feel like it's accelerating quite quickly, and it is. It's not a slow car. More than fast enough, 150 brake I think. And then we'll get to this point, the point where everyone thinks, oh, it's not a Mondeo, so it probably drives like crap. Gear change is pretty good. That power is hilarious. Staying fourth. This is where it gets really interesting with this car, because I haven't actually driven it for a while, so I'm not used to it as much as I was. But when I was driving it a lot, it's amazing how fast you can hustle this thing down the road. These corners can feel quite eventful in some cars, but it's got massive, I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm going to say 225 tyres all round, and the grip, phenomenal. I mean, that car, that didn't really do it, it didn't even seem like anything. I was going quite quickly there, and it just felt like nothing in this car. Over the bumps, yeah, it's actually really, it's very composed, this car. It doesn't get knocked off its line by... Easy enough to spin the wheels up there. I wish I had more time to drive it now. Forgot how fun it was. Yes, so much grip, great composure. It rides comfortable. It's amazing on the motorway. It's like a magic carpet. Only thing you probably hear now, tyre noise, because they are quite wide tyres, but it's not intrusive. People don't give these cars enough credit. I think that's a perennial problem with Vauxhalls, is they tend to be mid-pack in terms of magazine tests. And a lot of magazine tests really focus on the driving aspects, and therefore Ford wins. But I've not driven a Mondeo, but I've driven an Astra and a Focus, and they are different. And the Ford probably does drive with more verve, but these drive fantastically. Just because they're not quite as sporty or dynamically attuned as a Ford doesn't mean they should be discounted. This car objectively drives really, really well. The grip's fantastic. Some people complain about the steering this one. I find it quite easy to get used to. Weights up nicely. It's quite light. Yeah, it's very easy to drive this car very quickly. And then what it's really about, hopefully we'll go up the A21 a little bit, but what it's really about is at motorway cruising, any speed. At 70 it's serene. At 90 plus it remains fairly serene. It's really at home on the motorway. So relaxing. Cruise control, DOV radio. You can just chill out. And it will do whatever speed, and it will return good economy while it's doing it. So it's economical, it's quick, comfy, quiet, really spacious car. Got all the equipment. I really like to do a night video on this car, but I don't think I'll give it a go. But I don't think my camera gear is good enough to really pick it out. But the reason I want to is because my toolbox in the back there. The reason I want to is because the headlights on this car are the best of any car I've driven. And I've driven modern cars with LED headlights, but these actually look round corners. And my current car, Mercedes, actually does that as well, but the ones on here are so much better calibrated. They feel like when you're on a dark road, country road at night, when you're going around them, it's uncanny how they seem to be looking where you're looking. Obviously they follow the steering wheel, but they seem to be one step ahead, almost. They light the road so perfectly. Automatic high beam on this, which I've got to say is not tremendous. I feel like I'm blinding people too often, so I turn it off. But yeah, people think these cars are just... Even my friend, who's a bit of a petrol head, couldn't believe how much kit is on this car. It's very hard to fault this car. Because I spent quite a bit of time on it, more than most of my stock cars, I can attest to the fact that it's pretty reliable. Touch the wood. I love that wood trim. Yeah. It's been a reliable car. Full service history on this one. Well looked after. And I think that's the key when you're buying one of these is unfortunately the thing with Vauxhalls is they don't tend to find the best owners, and they tend to find, and I don't think they're any worse cars, especially they're on par in build quality, I think, with most VAG cars, the VAG cars like Volkswagens, Audis and Skodas and all that, but they don't have the rep of those cars. I think a lot of that is because they tend to be purchased by people who look after them not as well as the equivalent Volkswagen, if you see what I mean. So yeah, people seem to be able to put the time and effort into servicing VAG cars at their extortionate prices. But Vauxhall, which is quite cheap to service, people seem to scrimp and save on them, and like any other car would, they don't like it. But this one has been looked after, so that's what you've got to do with a Vauxhall. You've got to make sure it really has been looked after, and it will serve you well. They're well engineered cars. Toolbox again. $70. So let's put cruise control on 70. Just under 2,000 RPM. And listen to that. It's just, it's actually quite windy today, so there's a little bit of wind noise and tyre noise. But it's peaceful. And it revs so low. It's built to do that all day. Yeah, I really don't believe people think, oh, it's just a Vauxhall, or just a big Vauxhall. But it's an incredibly competent car. I don't really see what you're getting with a premium badge other than the badge itself, and that's exactly it. You aren't getting anything. This is engineered to the same level as any other German brand. And bear in mind, this is it is an Opel. I put the Opel badge in the front, as you saw. It is German. It is built in Germany, which is more than a lot of German cars are, or German premium brands. It's been very reliable. Great performance. Great to drive. Great on the motorway. Good economy. It really has everything you could want, and all the equipment as well. Doesn't have sat nav. I think that's about the only option you could have got on this Elite, being the top spec. It had everything anyway. But honestly, why would you want a very out-of-date sat nav when you've got your phone these days? For the money, I don't see how you could get more equipment or more space and a more competent package than this car. I really don't. So if you're interested, this car will be for sale on our website shortly. Sorry if you've been looking for stock or trying to get through to us recently, because we've been on sort of hiatus because a newborn baby in my family. My son, I should say. So he's been keeping me busy. But yeah, getting back to it now, and this car will be up for sale shortly. you're interested, drop us a line. Otherwise, just enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video about the Insignia, and hope you enjoyed a positive voice about a Vauxhall, because I don't think there's enough of them really. It's just such a shame they always seem to get lost in group tests or videos where they go, oh yeah, it's a Vauxhall. It's really not fair on the car. It's brilliant, honestly. That's my verdict. Absolutely great car. Probably one of the best I've had a long-term experience with. And the other one was probably a Vauxhall as well. The Astra H I had was absolutely fantastic too. So yeah, don't discount Vauxhalls. And if you want this one, give us a shout. Thanks for watching.